Hello and welcome to Real Talk with me, Anele. Today, we're looking at game changers and radical innovations that are shaping our future. And in life, like everything, it starts with education. So with me is a man who believes traditional education simply does not equip young minds to thrive in this brave new world. Please welcome Chinezi Chijioke to Real Talk. Hello there.
Hello, it's good to be here.
I practiced your name for like 5 minutes.
You got it. You did it very well.
Did I get it right? I'm happy about that. I'm so interested in what you're doing because Africa, in the next 20 years, 100 million young kids are going to become young adults, and naturally that means they have to go through the education system.
Yep.
What do you think currently is wrong with the education system?
Sure. Well, I think the question the education system should be asking, and every educator in it, is what do those 100 million young people need to be able to shape and thrive in the future that they'll enter, right? And I think when you ask that question, as we did, I think you end up with a different mix of, a different answer from sort of a very sort of teacher-directed model of education where students sit in rows and sort of prep for exams. I think you end up with a very different solution, and I think that's a question that all of us who are involved in this endeavor should be asking.
But I mean, you went through that education system, you know, I mean, you were in Stanford, then you were in Harvard, and then obviously before that, you were in this very education system that you're trying to tweak.
Yeah.
Did it not work for you whilst you were in there? Were you like, you know what, one day when I get my money on and I get my voice on, I'm going to change all of this?
Sure. No, there were aspects of it that are fantastic. So not everything that is old or traditional is bad.
Yeah.
So I don't want to create that misconception. There's a lot that works really well. But I think if the aspects of it that really prepare young people to be able to solve problems, to strive, to develop new solutions, to work together, are not always built centrally into what students are doing all the time, right? And so, for example, a lot of what students love about sports and the arts is that it gives them a chance to work in teams to pursue a high goal. How often do you get that experience actually when you're doing your mathematics or you're doing your science? It's not, you've got to build that kind of sort of team collaboration, striving for something challenging into that part of learning as well, if you really want students to grow in the way that some of those institutions, you know, aided me.
Because, you know, when I was in high school, like you say, the things I loved, like playing netball or going like to an athletics meeting, that was called extramural activity. So it's almost like it was chucked to the side. Whereas, you know, in some instances, most kids thrived in that part, and then they think that they're idiots because they cannot perform in class.
Absolutely.
So what are you doing? You want to like bring it back and balance it this way so that everyone peaks equally in what they're good at.
Well, we want to give young people an opportunity to have that experience in everything they're doing, or from a range of things they're doing, right? And so the extracurriculars are hugely important. The opportunity to pursue a passion, whether it's academic or extracurricular, is really, really important. But in the academics, what we figure we need to do is create environments where young people are solving problems all the time, are working together, are learning to lead together, and are building the character skills you get often outside of school, also into school. And when you, as we have done, try to shape a learning experience that engenders that, you end up with a very different format. So you end up with students working in groups a lot, doing lots of problem solving. You end up, as we do, with multiple teachers working in a classroom together. We have had to step back to rethink how do we want students to learn to get some of those benefits into learning while still building really great content and skills, you know, as traditional schools would focus on.
So how do you, because I mean, I know there's the standardized test thing that happens in schools where you're constantly being tested. Do you agree with that system where you're constantly being tested every week on what you learned in the past week?
Well, my belief and our belief is that the most important test of all is life. Right? And we need to prepare young people for life. Now, that doesn't mean you don't do any tests. It's important to have assessed visibility into student skills. Students need to learn to read and write and do arithmetic and have deep content knowledge to be able to think. But the objective of school, of 12 to 15 years of education, should not be a 2-month exam on the grade 12. It isn't, right? And so what we try to do is think about what are the outcomes for life around thought leadership, collaborative leadership, and personal character that young people need to be able to thrive. And I think that's the test we ought to be focused on, you know?
Do you know what I liked? You said something earlier about problem solving.
Yes.
Because, you know, you pass your matric, then you go to varsity and you get your degree. And I could do that if I just cram. You just cram. You cram the information and then you spit it out on a paper. Then you go to varsity, you cram the information, then you spit it out. Then you get into the corporate world, and then you have to apply knowledge, which is problem solving, and then no one can come to the party. And we see this all the time being in the working space. So how are you then making sure that, you know, with your guys' beliefs, how are you making sure that you kind of bridge that gap?
I mean, that's central to how our students learn. We, from really age 3, frankly. We have our students participating in something a format we call investigations. So that's a group of students from literally age 3, working through triple knot, double knot, grade R, who are working in teams to pursue answers to questions that they've come up with. So we had one group that got really excited about design, and they wanted to figure out how could they design clothes that were inspired by the school's sort of vegetation, the school's architecture, school's environments, to design clothes. They ended up evolving that into the production of a magazine that was pretty high quality. They ended up going to a media company to understand.
3-year-olds?
This project was done by 5-year-olds. This was 5-year-olds, but this was 5-year-olds. Ended up interviewing a media editor to say, how do you organize your content and what pages do you, and when students are working together at that young age to really invest in the scholarship and the inquiry around a question that's interesting and relevant to them, you get amazing scholarship. And so that's what I mean by building problem solving and investigative and inquiry skills from age 3. We've got a secondary school team that's developing a drone because they want to compete in a drone project. So this drone is and they're thinking about the applications to food, to security, to insight, to data. And that's their project. And so getting students working on solving problems in that way all the time is what we've got to be doing, you know?
I mean, but South Africa, most parents want their kids to be, lawyers, doctors, accountants, engineers, and those jobs that are safe and they give money. When you are telling a parent of a 7-year-old that no, we want him to concentrate because this one acts well, or this one sings well, or this one plays rugby well, how do you convince parents that trust us? If we hone this, we're going to get us a superstar.
So these skills are relevant to all those professions, right? Whether you're a doctor, or a lawyer, or entrepreneur, or a politician, you need to be able to solve problems and work with other people. Fundamentally, if you're going to shape the world in whatever pursuit you have, you need these skills. And in addition, the other part is our message, and a message I often share with students is worry less about what you want to be and what you want to do, what you want to solve. Because if you are figuring out what impact do you want to have, what problem do you want to solve, the career is the mechanism for achieving that. And I think the pursuits and the careers that our young people, even today already are moving into, but will in the 20, 30 years ahead, will be less structured along 80 years careers of a traditional profession, and much more around the impact and the solutions they want to deliver on, or the problems they want to solve. And that's how we're reframing the question. But from a standpoint of careers, what does this fit? Absolutely, you need these skills in all careers.
That is actually so amazing. Worry not what you want to be. Look at your life right now and see what you want to solve.
Absolutely. And the best way to do that is to get students into the lifetime of doing that is to have them doing it from the time they're in school. So students already trying to solve problems. I talked about the drone, whether it's community service projects, whether students already identifying issues that they want to solve, doing that, the best way to build a lifetime of doing that is to do that from now. Don't just prepare to do it in the future, do it now. And that builds their lifetime. And so that's really, we've got a leadership program at Pioneer Academies that is all geared towards students understanding themselves and then identifying problems to solve.
All right, so on the other side of the break, I want to talk more about this Pioneer Academies. Then I like this because we always tell kids, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? And they never quite know. And this is actually, pinpointing your passion and seeing how you can follow it. So interesting. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to Real Talk. With me on the couch is Chinezi Chijioke. Can I call you an expert in education?
If you'd like to, but I think I'm just a practitioner.
A practitioner in education.
Yes.
So Pioneer Academies, academies plural, so
That's
there's
right.
more than one.
That's right.
Where are they situated?
So we've got two campuses in South Africa, one in Midrand and one in Ormonde.
Yes.
And we're opening up a third now at Jackal Creek in just north of Johannesburg. And then we've got a school which we actually call Nova, but it's part of the same group of schools in Nairobi.
Oh, Nairobi.
Yeah.
And then I heard that there's a Try First initiative that you guys are trying with the students.
Or try first. No, that's just an ethical mantra which says, when you encounter the problem, try first before you ask. Because if you're going to build problem-solving skills, try first. And that's how you learn better, by trying to figure it out first before seeking help. And so that's sort of a mantra just around our problem solving that we use.
Because I'd imagine if one day I'm a boss and I give a task to my team, if you come to me without having tried, let me see where you went wrong so that I can help you out.
Exactly.
And say, oh, this is where you went wrong. But if you're just like, we can't do this.
Absolutely.
You know, then what? So what's the process to getting into Pioneer Academies? Is there like an entrance exam? Because I know many schools do that.
Sure.
And for me, it's so strange where this one paper decides if I'm going to come to the school or not.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the things we also believe is that the young people need to build these skills in the context of great diversity. You actually, if you're going to shape the world, you need to be able to be greater together with a broad range of students. And so one thing we're trying to do is make our schools really accessible, from at least from a price point. So our fees are between $2,500 to about $4,000 maximum a month. Right, so it's not the least expensive school out there. It's still a meaningful investment, but it's by no means priced to a sort of out of reach of most families.
Okay.
And then the process to get in is you apply. The first thing is apply, and then there's a process by which we try to get to know you and your child and figure out if there's a good fit for you, for that family and child in our schools.
Okay.
For families who want to know how, they should visit our website, www.pioneeracademies.co.za. And for families who really want to engage in a conversation around this kind of learning and what it means to future equip their children, join us. We've got an open day at Pioneer Academy Jackal Creek on the 24th from 10 to 2. Love to meet folks and discuss the education of their family, their children.
So are you like the headmaster?
I'm the founder, and I'm like, do whatever it takes guy, I'm the chief servant.
So sometimes we'll see you there, like they're sweeping the corridors.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, you're in there.
Yeah.
Let's speak about technology, because I see a lot of schools and the education department, because obviously they're trying ways to incorporate technology within schools, and they're like, yeah, we've given everyone iPads. You're just like, yes, guys, but then to do what? So Pioneer Academies, how are they pioneering technology to meet with education?
So that your insight there is spot on in terms of technology needs to be built around the learning objective or experience. And we spent a lot of time back in the years prior to starting Pioneer, trying to see who's doing what with technology around the world, visiting across multiple continents, what is most compelling and what's technology good for. We found that technology is pretty good for data. So we use technology for data. It's pretty good for high-intensity practice. So we do have a blended learning component where students are doing some reading eggs and mathletics, which are two core programs. And beyond, and then we use technology obviously for things like research or drone projects or writing and so on. But it's not technology for technology's sake. By no means. It's very much built around the things that technology is well suited for, and then managed by the teachers who assign it and who use the data from it. And
then is there a way, like, what do kids hand in their assignments through email and promoting it that
varies.
Like quicker?
Yeah, it varies. We don't do a lot of sort of on-paper graded work, but it does vary. So some work is handed that way. Some work is actually software where the data comes from the computer. So for example, we use a set of assessments called MAP assessments. We use them because they're globally benchmarkable. And those assessments we've just run a set. We'll run a set again in December, and we'll run more next year. And that data comes directly from the software, right? And so you don't have teachers having to grade. Teachers become the users of data, not the producers of the data, which is a much high efficiency use of their time and much more productive for them than spending all their time doing the grading. That's an example.
So, I mean, with the climate that South Africa is currently in when it comes to education and the whole identity within a school, like how does my identity, like say as Anele and the way I am, fit into Pioneer Academies? What's your discipline, how do I say this, template like, you know? Do you have prefix like most schools do? How do the prefix get in there? And what's the discipline procedure if there is a child who's like, going off the track? Sure.
There's a approach called responsive classroom or logical consequences, and it's all about developing people. It's not about punishing people. Punishing isn't sort of part of our lexicon. It's more about consequences, so you learn the impact of your behavior and can therefore make responsible choices. Because ultimately, you're growing young people who are going out there in the world and are going to have to make choices. And going to have to know how to manage themselves and work with others. And so our whole sort of discipline system is really about building a sense self-management and sensibility. The other thing we haven't talked about that, but it's really critical touches on this for us is we have a set of 6 culture principles. And it's a much more positive way to build character and build practice and build discipline is through a set of 6 culture principles. And we always say culture first. We prioritize those. That comes even before our learning innovations. Culture first, and it's through those things that I find we have the greatest impact in building young people who are just really incredible and transformative and take responsibility for their learning, for each other, and for stretching themselves. And so I think it's culture, and then with a system of logical consequences on the back of it.
You know, because every time, because I just became a mom and my son's like 1 now, and people are like, oh, so you know, what do you want for your son? I was like, you know, guys, I just want a kind person. You know, I can teach hard work. You know, I can teach consequence and follow through, but I think the underlying factor for me is just like, I just wanted to be kind and to be nice to people, regardless, you know, regardless of who they are, whether they're cleaning or they're the CEO, I just want like, you know, the same treatment. So you guys are in there, that's where you are. You're like honing that. You're like more like parents at school. I see what you guys are doing.
Well, children spend so much of their time at school that first of all, we see ourselves in partnership with parents. So we're working together with families. But they spend so much time in school that we need to absolutely do much more than just academic preparation. We need to build really sound, young people of sound character. And so some of the culture principles that touch on what you just said are things like greater together, an acknowledgement that we mean more and we can achieve more together than alone, or servant leadership, that others, mission and others first before self. And there's a series of our culture principles that really inculcates that sense of I care for others, I support others, and you know I am part of something bigger than just myself. And I think our students are really, and it has meaning for our preschool, has meaning for our secondary school students, and they're really responsive. You know, I am really proud of how our students have responded to that and really owned that. You know.
It sounds wonderful. And it doesn't sound wishy-washy, because you know it could sound kumbaya-ish. Like these guys are out there making our kids chant during break time. No, really. Like it sounds tangible.
No, it is.
And that's what I like about it. Pioneeracademies.co.za.
Yes, come see us.
Yes, please. Pioneeracademies.co.za. And if you can't spell that, then you should be at Pioneer Academies. Thank you so much. So